So the Providence Journal is blowing up with the governor's recent veto of the funeral benefits bill and his announcement that he would support domestic partnerships. For example, let me read you a comment that's on one of the votes as to whether we should have domestic partnership versus marriage equality in the state of Rhode Island. Quote, "No, the governor should not is capitalized, consider domestic partnership agreements. The homosexual agenda is not only marriage, it is about forced acceptance of their deviant lifestyle under penalty of law. To legalize domestic partnerships is to legitimize the homosexual lifestyle. Anyone who dares object will be punished. Our freedom of religion will be gone," that's capitalized too. He says, "Don't believe me? Look at many examples of what's already happening in other states. A Catholic adoption agency closed in Boston because they were being forced under interpretation of Massachusetts law to be required to have same-sex couples adopt children out of their Catholic agency, which is completely against their Catholic religion. If we had a domestic partnership law in Rhode Island, the law would be used to do the same and similar things." Now, this is an argument that's been put forth by the National Organization for Marriage, by MassResistance, by MFI, by all the what I call homophobic bigotry groups. Let me address that. The Catholic Church in Boston pulled out preemptively before the bill was even law, because they basically, look, the Catholic Church's position overall is that they don't support any kind of marriage equality whatsoever. They don't even support any rights for gay people, basically, which is curious because, well, Rhode Island, we've had employment, housing, and credit non-discrimination against gay and lesbian people since 1996 and against transgender people since 2001, and the church really hasn't weighed in on that. But here's the thing. This guy brings up the lifestyle argument, and look, it's not a lifestyle, okay? I have a life. What I do in the bedroom is nobody's business but my own and the person I'm with. That's it. Other than that, you have no right to tell me that I have less rights than you do. You have no right to tell me that your rights matter more than mine because of your religion. It's not the case. If you look at the Founding Fathers, when they wrote the Constitution, notice there's not a heck of a lot of mention of God in the Constitution. You know why? Because they weren't Christian. They were deists or secular humanists. In other words, a nice way of saying atheists. Look at Locke, look at Paine, look at Jefferson, Hamilton, all those guys. Look, they knew what the problems were with letting religion run amok among state government and federal government. And so that's why the Constitution was written the way it was. We are not founded on Christian principles. As much as you'd like to believe that, yeah, fine, the Puritans came here, but you know what? They were as big a religious whack job in the 17th century as the fundamentalist Christians are today. They were not nice people. Even Roger Williams, who founded Rhode Island, couldn't deal with the Puritan ethic. He couldn't deal with religion having dominance over government. And that's how Rhode Island was founded. But, like I said, the deviance thing, he puts that in there. And his reason for it is he needs to understand deviance. There's deviance everywhere around us. Okay? And if you talk about the sexual acts, the deviancy of a cock going into an ass or a mouth, let me tell you something. That same exact thing happens in the straight community. Believe it or not. Before this gets too long, there's another one that was in all caps. Where is it? Let me see. There's quite a... Oh, yes. My feelings on gay, and the gays in quotes, marriage aside, I think that all the legal and financial troubles that this move will bring up will make it far too expensive for the rest of people who are paying taxes. And that's exactly what it says, rest of people who are paying taxes, not the rest of the people. It will clog up the courts, cost insurance companies more. Guess who winds up paying that bill ultimately in parens? You know what? Just go to your rooms and do what you like. I don't advertise my preferences. It's nobody's business, and I certainly wouldn't expect my neighbors to foot the bill. I call bullshit on that one. You do advertise your preferences. Look at television, look at media, look at print, look at what you see on the street every day. Predominantly heterosexual displays. We're just asking for the same right. And you know what? I'm going to shove it in your face, because you need to get over your bigotry.